It is the difference, basically the net working capital is the difference between the total current assets and the total current liabilities of a business. So first we calculate what is the investment made in current assets, then the investment in current liabilities, and we take the difference, which is giving you the working capital requirement. Now in the question you are given that the raw material cost is 50 per unit, labor cost 20, overheads including depreciation is rupees 40. And as told earlier, depreciation is a non-cash expense, so it is not considered here. We take the overheads to be 30, and your total cost of production will now come to rupees 100. Then you are given a profit of 20 rupees on the total cost, and you are given the selling price as 130. So let's start with the question. Our first step in the question will be to calculate the current assets. We'll take up the additional information one by one. The first current asset will be your raw material. Now you are given raw material on monthly basis, and you are given that the company needs a financial level of activity of 54,000 units of output. Now this is the yearly output which is required. Since raw materials are given on monthly basis, we'll take the investment in raw materials. Okay, so this will give you the holding of raw material. Next, you need to calculate the value of work in progress. So for work in progress, the statement given in the question is that average materials in work in progress is for half month. So we take again the work in progress on monthly basis, and as per the assumption, it is assumed that with respect to raw material, work in progress is 100% complete, while with respect to labor and overheads it is 50% complete. So I take the number of units as 54,000, cost per unit, raw material cost per unit as 50, and then the time period for which raw materials remain in work in progress is half a month. So now I take this to be 1 by 24. Okay, for half month I double the denominator. Also work in progress covers 50% of the cost of labor and overheads. So I am writing them together, 20 plus 30. And then if materials are in uh, work in progress for half a month, then your labor and overheads will also be taken on the same basis. So that will be 1 by 24. I have taken this together, labor and overheads. If you want 50%, आप labor कर लो और फिर उसमें add कर दो 50% of overheads. After that, you are given the debtors. Debtors are given a holding period of 1 month. Debtors are taken on cost of sales. So in our question, cost of production and cost of sales is the same. Rupees 100. So this will be the value of debtors. After that, you are given that finished goods also have a holding period of 1 month. So that will also be taken at 100. And the last value which is given in the question, last current asset is cash at bank. I'm writing it here because of space. You can write it after finished goods also. This value is already given at 1 lakh. So all the calculation with respect to current assets is there on your screens. Just calculate the sum total. How much are the current assets coming to? Okay, one thing more in the question is that 25% of the sales are on cash basis. तो debtors हमेशा credit sales के लिए होते हैं, which means 75% of the sales are on credit basis and hence debtors will be adjusted accordingly. So Manshu, ये debtors वाली value correct करके आ रही है ये gross working capital. Okay, so I'll just write down the total. I'll check also. 1281250. Yes, this is the correct answer. The next step will be calculation of current liabilities. The first current liability will be creditors, and the time allowed by creditors is also 1 month, like the time allowed to debtors. Creditors are purely for raw material. It is assumed that they are for raw material. So 1 by 12 and into 50. Apart from this, there is a time lag of payment of wages. In wages is 10 days, while in payment of overheads is 30 days. So which means both these values need to be calculated on daily basis. Okay, so you can give a footnote that we are assuming 360 days in a year. If you want, you can assume 365 also. But since overheads were given a time lag of 30 days, it is roughly assumed that 30 days are taken on average per month and we are taking 360 days. So if you want, you can take 365 also. Accordingly, the adjustment can be made. But do mention in the footnotes how many days are you taking in a year. So this will give you the total current liabilities, and then you can get the net working capital, A minus B. Complete. Eight nine one two five zero. This is your net working capital. This is correct. So the net working capital, okay, this is the total of current liabilities. I'll write it here. 3,90,000 are the current liabilities, which gives you a net working capital of 8,91,250. Any questions from this? So I hope this is clear. I'll take up one last question on working capital management. We're given a company which is selling goods on gross profit of 20%. It includes depreciation as a part of cost of production, which means we need to calculate the cash cost of production, that is cost of production minus depreciation. Then you're given the values for 12 months. Safety margin of 15% will be maintained. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि जब आप करंट एसेट्स और करंट लाइबिलिटीज का डिफरेंस कैलकुलेट कर लोगे 15% of that value will be added to arrive at the net working capital of the business. Then cash is to be held to the extent of 50% of current liabilities. So it is only after completing the calculation of current liabilities will we add the cash balance and get the total of current assets. No work in progress, tax is to be ignored. Finished goods are to be valued at manufacturing cost. The raw material and finished goods are at 1 month requirement. Sales at 2 months credit. So which means debtors are being given 2 months to pay back the amount of credit sales. Then material consumed, this is on yearly basis. Suppliers credit is for 2 months. So creditors are giving you a time period of 2 months to make the payment. Then wages, yearly wages are 5,40,000. Please pay attention here. They are paid on the last day of the month. Okay, now it is assumed that the wages are paid with a time lag of 15 days. मतलब आपकी जो सैलरी जो वेजेस होती हैं जो डेली लेबर की वेजेस होती हैं they become due on 15th of every month. But in this question, the wages are being paid on last day of the month, which means there is a time lag of 15 days in the payment of wages. तो अगर लैग आपको चेक करना होगा, आपको आउटस्टैंडिंग वेजेस कैलकुलेट करनी होगी, तो लैग आपका हाफ मंथ का एज्यूम होता है. So this you need to mention in the footnotes or in the working notes that it is assumed assumption of half month lag in payment of wages. Okay, after that you are given manufacturing expenses outstanding at the end of year, which means your cash expenses are paid 1 month in arrear, तो आपके yearly manufacturing expenses होंगे 60,000 into 12. So let's calculate the cost of production also. उसमें सारे points cover हो जाएंगे. So first add up the cost related to production because your finished goods will be valued at the manufacturing cost, at the cost of production. So this comes to 19,35,000. उसके बाद जब आप सेलिंग और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एक्सपेंसेस यहाँ पर ऐड करते हो and administrative expenses, then you get the cost of sales. And your debtors are valued at the cost of sales. So I'll add up the admin cost. and the selling cost to get the cash. So 22 lakh 5,000 is your cash cost of sales. Okay. Cash cost of production is 19 lakh 35,000. Cash cost of sales is 22 lakh 5,000. You can also check that your sales are given at 27 lakh, which means your profit value is a 27 lakh into 20 by 100. 21 lakh 60,000 is your cost of sales because selling expenses are also given. Okay, first have a look at these calculations. If there's anything which is not clear, please ask. Any doubt, anyone? So now we can move to the calculation of working capital. Cash cost of sales and this is cash cost of production. Because we'll be using these values now to calculate the current assets. And starting from here, then we can move to the next page. First is calculation of current assets. So raw materials are kept on 1 month basis. There is no work in progress. Finished goods will be valued at cash cost of production. हिमांशु आप कुछ पूछ रहे हो बेटा? No charge. So please by that time calculate the value of raw material and your finished goods. Just give me 2 minutes. The iPad has switched off. So by that time, I'll share the question on the class group also. So you can continue solving.